everyone. We're back once again. Happy Pride to everyone.
Oh, your mic can is cutting up. Okay, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Oh,
Be who you are,
I
live
hear
in your
you.
pride.
You can't hear me though.
I couldn't
Now
hear
we can hear
you. I
you.
could hear Star.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can
Yes,
hear
we
you
can hear
now.
you
Let's
now.
do it all together. You ready? Be
Be
who
who
you
you
are
are,
for
live
your
your
pride.
pride.
Where
It,
does that come from? What song does that come from?
I don't know. I just remember the video with the dude with the cookie cake and the
Yes,
lady.
that's the thing.
I'm
Yes.
I'm so sick of everybody who sent me that shit. First, I was like, girl, I've seen this video so fucking much. Stop sending me this nonsense.
And we
I
still can't
love it.
figure out who the song is from because I ain't
Like,
never heard
stop
of it.
sending me this dumb shit, please. Jesus
Well, the
Christ.
way the guy joins in, I thought it was like a well-known song, and it was catchy. Be who you are, for
Girl.
your pride. I
All
like
right.
that
So
one.
it is Pride. We are currently doing a
The end
nice
of
little
Pride.
special. Yeah, actually it is. Pride ends the day after tomorrow. So
Mhm.
we're doing a nice little special Pride edition episode for everyone. And do you remember your first Pride? Because I remember mine, and I'll explain why someone pissed me off.
I remember my first pride.
Of course. Go ahead, Star.
Yes,
It was
someone
very
pissed me off, but
lackluster.
no, they didn't piss me off my first Pride. They pissed me off after my first Pride, and I'll explain why.
Of course. Go ahead, Star.
Um, so my first pride was back in Hawaii when I was stationed there, and they have their pride in October.
Wait,
Um,
what? What?
yeah, so certain places around the world will have their prides at different months or their pride parades at different times, as to like make sure that they diversify the tourism.
Oh, okay.
So that way, like not all of one place is getting more packed than others, and it's just like every city can make their own money off it.
Hmm.
So Honolulu does theirs in October around Halloween.
Okay.
Uh, I remember I went. It was mid as hell. I was
Really?
really because I was also like I was younger, and by younger I was like freshly 19 or something.
Hmm.
It was my first time like being away from home. I was still kind of emotionally stunted from my last situation, and that's not the romantic situation, but like I had been kind of just having to cycle through friends and friends and friends for 9 months. So by
Hmm.
the time I got to Hawaii, it took me like a whole year to readjust myself and kind of like get back into my regular flow.
Hmm.
Um, but like it was a nice little kiki. Like the parade wasn't bad or anything. It just really wasn't anything special to write home about. Nothing crazy. Didn't see any of the furries out, surprisingly enough. But at Baltimore, I did.
And in
Uh,
that humidity?
fair enough. There was a nice little bar next to the streets where you could go to after. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. Nothing crazy. No dark rooms. Like it was very. We did it. We did the thing.
Yay!
Okay. Like do whatever you wanted to do with the rest of your day.
Yeah, good, good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Drive safe. All right.
Yeah, that was my first pride.
So
Thanks for being here.
for how for in Hawaii, because you just never think of Hawaii as being a gay capital. You know, like there's places that you think, yeah, gay, good gay population, but Hawaii does have naval and army bases. So
And a
there's
Marine
that.
Corps base and an Air
Oh, there's a
Force.
Marine Corps base.
Yeah, they got all four of us out there. Um,
Join the Navy, see the world.
They
exactly.
got a huge naval base there, right?
They got two of them.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
in the
Now,
navy.
what I will say is, in terms of gay culture in Hawaii, it's pretty accepted. There's not a lot of homophobia,
Mhm.
but there's
They seem
also
pretty
not.
chill. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's just not a lot of
And
gay stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's the amount of gay resources on Honolulu you can probably count on your hand, and that's about
Mhm.
five. And
Mm,
I think one of them closed down because of COVID, and I don't know if they
mm.
ever brought it back. So that's the reason I'm just like,
oh, that's sad.
Kinda
yeah,
understand. Understand.
it's very underwhelming for a place that you would think would be a lot more, knowing like parts of Hawaiian culture and how much more accepting they are towards like the transgender experience. Because I don't know if they necessarily, it's not like two spirit or anything, but it's something akin to that.
Something like but also too, a lot of,
After that.
Polynesians are Mormons, right? Aren't they?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm Catholic still, so
yeah,
that's the reason why it's like one of those like back and forth.
yeah. Damn good looking ones at the airport throwing your luggage, Can I
Who
talk to you about
tossed
Christ?
me?
No. But can I talk to
Don't
you?
don't don't let yourself get too caught up in the fantasy, because Lord knows I had my share of Polynesian, man, and I'm not. This is not shade to anybody, but I kept getting 5 inchers. I kept getting 5 inchers. I can't do nothing with five. Not with this fat ass.
Great way to
Just-
start the podcast, huh?
I just envision like coming home from work. Like somebody said this a long time ago, and it always stuck in my head that she dated a Polynesian guy, and she's like, come home from work, and he would be in what's the thing that they wear, the fabric,
The
just
towel.
just laying on the sofa, just chill, perfect body. And I was like, yes, I would like to open my door to my apartment and see that draped across my sofa instead of my
That's
dog looking at me like, oh, what's for dinner? What's
I'll
for
sign up for that too. I'll sign up for that too.
yes. Oh my lord, with the
Go to
long hair.
Australia. Go to New Zealand.
So okay,
This is more
so
for Cam than it is for you, Vaughn.
so
Ken needs to see the world.
a member
I
of
need to
our group who is from Australia popped our you weren't in that yesterday. Basically told us that there are very few Polynesian people in Australia. That was more New
Huh.
New
Zealand.
Zealand is probably more of the drive
Yeah.
that I
Okay,
would.
then
I,
go
I
to
would
New
definitely go to
Zealand.
Let's go to New Zealand. Let's go. Let's do a
I'm
show from
down.
New Zealand. I'm down. I am down from Tahiti, French Polynesia. Let's go. Let's go back to Hawaii. Shit. Let's go. Maui. When
You
you gonna
can't
be
get me to
stationed
spend
back in
more than
Hawaii?
5 days.
Would I,
I'm
would
not
I be
going back. I
going
am not
to?
getting stationed in Hawaii again.
Would I
Not
want
unless
to
I'm
go to
married.
Thailand?
I haven't been to
Yeah.
Thailand yet. All my friends go there
Maybe.
though.
I don't want to go to Thailand. I don't want to go to, I don't know why I have this aversion to Thailand, but
I don't know. I know it's a beautiful place. Oh, it's at the Philippines. I think it's the Philippines. Is a beautiful place.
The
This is also my
Philippines
pride making.
also the
fair enough.
Philippines is fun, but it's definitely so if you don't know, the Philippines, from most of my friends say it and after being there, they don't really have a middle class. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like you're either rich or you're poor. So
That's
as
why a lot of
Americans,
Filipinos come here.
yeah. So if you go to the Philippines with the American dollar, you're doing pretty good in terms of buying power, but in
Mm.
terms of like seeing a lot of stuff, there are certain places that are very sanitized, and there are other places where it's just like you can see close to the poverty line.
Mm.
Yeah.
The
So it's
I was
Philippines
just
like,
is
like,
maybe
another
we're.
place that just never struck me as, oh, I must in my lifetime go to the Philippines. That doesn't just roll off my tongue.
I feel
You
like
know?
for an exotic destination, that would probably like one of the like
Really?
that
it can be
Thailand.
fun. It can be very fun. I
Exotic destination, Egypt. Like, yeah, I want to
Oh
go to
yeah, it's like
Egypt.
a part of the list. Like it's like at least a list of them that actually like. Okay, yeah, this will be a place to go to. Like
Yeah, the
you want to say
Philippines.
exotic destination, and then go, oh, let's go to Paris. Like
No, that's not
yeah,
exotic.
at
Yeah,
all.
no, it's not.
Thailand,
that's just European.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Like
European.
Portugal, sure. I'm never going to Italy, and
Portugal
I'm
is
not going to
exotic,
Spain.
really?
Hey, it's spicy. It's spicier whites than fucking Spain.
I
any
guess.
part of
Morocco.
most part of South America.
I've
Most.
been to Morocco. Morocco is exotic.
I would love to
If
go
you're
to
a colonizer, you're like, ooh, the spices, ooh,
just
the
because
market.
I love the idea of it. I would love to go to Monaco.
Actually, I know a Moroccan girl.
Monaco. I would love to go to
So many
Monaco and
beautiful
treat it
islands
like
in the
it's exotic.
Philippines.
I see
You know what I
Casey.
mean? Like
Hello,
walk
CKC.
around and be like,
Yes,
oh, Monaco, what do you call this? Mayonnaise? It's delicious. Try this star. Try this. The white people here eat it. Try
Okay.
it. They
Oh
eat
my
it on
god.
everything.
All
Oh
right,
my
but
God.
Vaughn.
to CKC, there are many beautiful islands.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the water is
CKC.
very
Yeah.
pretty. I recommend going to the Philippines because I found it to be a fun time. Now, again, there's a whole lot of pollution because it is one of the countries that gets paid to take people's trash.
Mm,
So
Oh.
like you might see that too. Um,
mm. I don't know.
otherwise, just
I just
don't get scammed because they will
I
let you
just
if you let them. They will.
Mhm.
there's just like Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines. These aren't places
So
that are
most
just.
Asian countries.
Southeast
You
Asian
know what though?
specifically.
Southeast Asian, Japan, love it. I'd go back to Japan in a heartbeat. I
Well,
would
yeah,
Then
live in
come.
Japan.
I think
South
Japan is
Korea.
like a given destination for so many people. Like my sister
Now
wants to go.
China, I ain't never going back. They ain't gonna catch me up
I'm
no more.
I would be very iffy about China. I don't know what part of China I would go to.
Hong Kong, I'm all in. I've never been to Hong Kong. I would give Hong Kong a try. Shanghai, I would give it a try.
I will
But
go to Japan.
Beijing, never,
Tai-
never again.
Taiwan is definitely one of the better, yeah, very gay friendly country. That is
Yeah,
the
Taiwan.
only
Yeah,
gay country to have that accepts gay marriage. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Taiwan would be fun. But Singapore would be fun too.
I
You
will love
know, those
Singapore.
Singapore.
places like those. I'd like to go to Singapore and have a Singapore sling.
Oh
You know,
wait,
just
I saw
like
somebody. I saw a girl on Instagram. She went to Japan. She was like plus size, and they were so fascinated by the fact that she was plus size and black. And I was like, I
no,
forget
That's
like in other
not
parts of the
as
world
no.
where,
Japan
where
was
like
cool,
that
cool
exotic
as
thing. I don't know
yeah,
if it was
like
Japan
people
or
really
China,
do be
but
minding
one
their
of the
business, and
yeah.
there are big Japanese people. It's a
Hmm.
yes,
little bit harder to do just because of the way that portion sizes and food work, but
Hmm.
also if you see like their work life balance, it's kind
Yeah.
of hard to fit in exercise.
I think that when we went to Japan, that was one of the big revelations. Like everything is small, right? So one butt cheek fits into like one part of the bus seat, and the other butt cheek fits into the other one, and you just kind of wedge yourself in there. But here's what I found: most of the Japanese men did not mind. They were like, they weren't. I wouldn't say they were like, we weren't fascinations like at the zoo, like in China. In China, you literally had people ask me like, "Are you related to Queen Latifah? Can I touch your hair?" Like, and it wasn't a "Can I touch your hair?" It was one person was grabbing and touching your hair, while another person it was like, "I am convinced I am on some Chinese
they did that
like
to Khalid
TikTok."
too.
Yeah, they're not subtle at all in China about gawking at you, and like, you know, they're not subtle in China about gawking at you. The racism, men in China are not subtle about you looking for
Italy.
husband, you looking for boyfriend, because I'm looking to get out. You know, like
Again, well, it's also the
Italy.
fact that like they have in some places in China there is a 7-to-1 ratio of man to woman. So it's just like there's not enough women for every man to get married, even if they could. So therefore, your best bet is to marry out.
Mhm. That's one of the biggest myths I'd like to dispel to especially black people. And I've talked to black women about it is see the world, get a passport, see the world. Because once you
Mhm.
leave the United States, shit, if you just go to Canada, you be chased by men down an aisle. I person, this has
Don't be a
happened.
passport, bro.
But
Don't be
that,
a
but
passport.
I'm not being, see, that's Ian, you listen to Ian and his foolishness. I am not a
No, I'm
passport.
saying no. I'm saying yes. You are right. Go see the world. I used to say that shit all the time. Go travel. Yes, I know it's coming from me.
No, you say it every week, and then you say "sleep with Star Mother."
That is a little derogatory, whatever. I like it though. Be a hoe of the world. Be get your get your passport
Just don't get
stamped in
super
every.
syphilis. Just don't get super
Oh
syphilis.
my god. Speaking
Sorry,
of
that was
super,
so funny.
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You're having a
We're
moment.
off the topic too, but
What
Yvonne,
was
tell
the
me about
topic? What was
he was
it?
talking about
Our
pride,
first
and it's like
pride, and then
your
we
first
talked about
pride.
different places, and then we talked about
Because
dating
Star's
in different places.
fascination it was a fascinating story about Hawaii, and I just wanted to know, like Polynesian men. I'm sorry, Kay. What was your first pride like?
My first pride, I was. What was I? Was I 23?
You were complaining because you said that there was a
I'll explain after the
complaint.
fact. Okay. I think I
Oh,
was like
okay.
23. I
Mm-hmm.
think I was a little bit younger. Maybe 22, 23. I don't remember. I
Mm-hmm.
went to my first trial with my sister.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. We went to the parade. We walked
Mm-hmm.
around downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I met up with a friend of mine at the time who we was just all hanging out and shit like that. I think I got home at like 2:30 in the morning and I left at
Mm.
like 12 in the afternoon. So I was out
Yeah.
all day partying and I went bar hopping like a motherfucker. That was back when you had the knees and the energy to do that. Now you ain't got no more. She ain't got no more. I can go from 1 to 2, and that's about it. I can't go 3, 4, 5, 6. So
Mm.
it was cool. So the reason why I was angry, it
Mm.
wasn't because of it was because I went for sadly to attempt to meet somebody. I went speed
Mm.
dating one time.
You went what? Say
I
again.
went speed dating one time,
Speed dating,
and it was the last time I would ever go speed dating.
because that's a humiliation ritual. Yes, go ahead.
That number one. Number two, there was a guy who he got we got placed together. He literally pulled out his phone in the middle of the conversation, and I said,
Mhm.
"I will never do this a fucking again."
Mhm.
I do not. That was so disrespectful. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I'm not your type. Don't disrespect people like that.
Can I
This
can I
is wrong.
I've never been to a pride, so I'm still waiting to have my first pride. Me, who
Uh
you
huh.
are, your pride. We have to break out into that every couple of minutes till somebody tells us the name of that song.
I don't know what the fuck it is, girl.
But the speed dating thing, I remember. So I used to go to a hookah lounge all the time in Charlotte,
Mm-hmm.
in the Noda district, in the arts district,
Mm-hmm.
and we were there one year for my birthday. Was it my birthday? No, it was a random Saturday. No, no, we were just smoking hookah. So we were there smoking
Mm-hmm.
hookah. It was a hookah and cupcake bar, which is kind of an odd thing together, but hey, it worked. So we were there, and people were coming in and out because it was also like a full service restaurant. And so we had been there for a long time, just like drinking and doing hookah. It was just like a group of us. It was a book club, but nobody read the book. I love that. This is my favorite book clubs. So
It
a
was a
speed
book club, but nobody read the book.
None of us. We all had the book. You know how you show up with the book and you're like, yes, and you're
Mhm.
waiting for somebody to start so you can piggyback off that comment because you didn't read the book. Um, excuse me. So a speed dating setup was happening while we were like, there, and it was a black female speed dating thing, right? So we were just like, just kind of like hanging around, just kind of like, because we didn't pay to be part of the speed dating thing, but we thought we could get the sloppy seconds. We could just kind of sit around. If they don't, if the men don't hit it off with them, we could be at the bar, kind of just like, oh, hi, how are you doing? Can I tell you, those ladies sat there. You know how speed dates, you sit there and you have the little card in front of you and you're
Yeah.
waiting for the nobody showed up. Not one single man.
That's
I felt so bad for those women that had paid for that speed dating experience. I bought a couple of them drinks. I was like, well, I'll sit and talk to you.
that's
I
fucked
guess
up.
maybe that was a pride thing, but it didn't happen in June. And nobody was singing "Be Who You Are." But
Y'all in this damn song.
that was the saddest speed date experience I had ever witnessed in my life. And I said from there on, I was like, that's a humiliation ritual. I will never do that ever again.
Me neither. Never do
I
it. So
almost did that actually.
Don't waste your money.
don't bother.
Oh, but it was gonna be free, but I just
Don't
never
They
waste your
got
had
into
that
the
time.
full.
too at. Well, I'll explain later. They had that too at Frolic, and I was like, "Thank God, I'm not going to be here for this shit because I'm not about to endure this nonsense."
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
don't waste your time.
I'm not about to sit here and have some people just blatantly act in disgust in front of me. I'm like, yo, like you ain't
Mhm.
gotta talk to me after this, but at least let's be all cordial here.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta go on a date. Like nobody's
Right.
forcing you to take me out after this. Just say
How
hi. What's your name and how you doing?
how hard is it to actually have a conversation with someone? And at the
Right.
end of it, if it's not to be, it's not to be.
Jesus, like no, anyway. So I met somebody. I was talking to him for a brief moment in time, and I explained to them when I went to my first pride. He was like, mind you, I'm assuming he was a white guy. He looked like he could pass for a different ethnicity, but I'm just gonna say he's white.
Spicy white?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway, I told him like, oh, I went to my first pride like at 23 or some shit like that. He's like, really? Why? As if I was supposed to go to Pride when I was like 14 or some shit like that. I'm like, oh, it's like he's like, oh, Pride, it's like so widely accepted and everything like that nowadays. And I'm like, you didn't grow up in a black household, so why the fuck are you telling me this shit?
That is also fair.
And I'm glad that you grew up in a household. Like, let me say something to people out there. Anybody who watches this in the future, your lived experience is your lived experience.
Correct.
If someone tells you, "Oh, I haven't been to my first pride till I was 25. I've never been on a date until I was 30," and all this other bullshit. If you was out there in the clubs at 16 years old, like those two little kids in Paris is burning, good for you.
Mhm.
If you was out there getting your back blown out by a grown ass man for no reason, good for you. If you was out there living your best life and shit like that by the time you were 17 and everything, bar hopping and getting and sneaking in and everything like that, good for you. Not everybody has that same fucking experience in life. Some people just don't. I went to my first gay bar at 23, and I've been drinking ever since.
There you go.
What's the problem?
All
Oh,
right,
I'm
buddy.
sorry. I started 2 years later than everybody else did. Oh well, I didn't find my community until much later in life. That
Not
happens.
today.
Everyone has different experiences in life. But when y'all make people feel ashamed for it, and then y'all try to come up and be like, everybody's different. We all have different paths. We all walk different ways. Then stop fucking passive aggressively judging people for the fact that they don't live the same fucking thing.
Agreed. The only people we should be judging are people who take like 75 loads or 96 loads of laundry.
Or people who don't know how to text you.
Oh, God. Yeah, because they
Mhm.
really do fall into the same group. One is a walking biohazard, and one is just an inconsiderate person. Yes, they fall into the same.
That's a
They
dig into
follow
what
that same
Gemini.
wheelhouse.
But to say all that to say like he did that was just unnecessary and I felt like it was
Yeah,
uncalled.
it was
And
to
like
judge.
and it was just like really like we're really like now looking at him like I would never like yes people find shit later in life it fucking
Yeah.
happens
Some people have their first pride at 50, 60, 70 years old. Think about those
and
people that didn't have, the ability to do those pride things, when they were younger.
like everybody's so concerned by getting it done so quickly in the 20s and shit like that before the rickety knees of 30 come in even though that's
I
not
also
technically old.
What are you doing that rickety knees are now a problem at pride?
and
Girl.
well, never mind. I
Tell
drew
me I
a
need to
nose.
get knee
My
pads
body's
and
moving.
gay.
But I will say this: we, for the gay male experience, we have a really big problem with ageism
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
because, and I feel like it's a byproduct from like the HIV epidemic.
They
Um,
lose a whole entire generation so.
yeah, we lost a whole entire generation of people, and that really made youth and health become a really big thing. And because of that, like you get those people who have, and then now with the current set of youth, there's a whole generation still missing from history that
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
isn't telling their stories, and people are talking about surviving through it. And now we have so much more access to medication and different kinds of contraceptions, but ultimately the issue still lies with the fact that like people take that for granted because nobody who had to fight for it is really headlining or making big news and or is conventionally attractive enough to gather the attention, because Lord knows there are many attractive people who are not speaking out and protesting for rights. And I feel like that's a really big issue because as in our modern day landscape, if people don't start protesting, if people don't start paying attention, we're going to regress even far. We're going to keep regressing backwards.
Mhm.
They stand up for certain things, but they don't actually stand up for a
They
lot
stand
of
up for
people
their
their
they
own
stand up for their own personal section of the intersectionality.
Mhm.
that part
It doesn't work like that.
that part.
Yep, because it's just like when the lowest of us is treated better, we will all be treated better.
Yeah.
And that is
And
just the way life, that's just how it
just the
works.
word intersectionality tells you that it doesn't work like that. That things are intersecting. It's not one thing. It's multiple things. So and
Some people
I,
do
I
fuck it up for everybody else sometimes, but
yeah, I do agree with you about that, about the AIDS crisis and just generations of people who just couldn't be out. You know what I mean? Who didn't have the word for it, who didn't live as freely as some people choose to live today. But I also think it's just a little feminist in me. I also think that the gay culture is driven by the patriarchy and the male
Mhm.
gaze. And the male gaze
absolutely.
always likes young and white aligned. And if you're not
Mhm.
those two things, you're invisible.
Or
The
ridiculously in shape, and I experienced that over my
Well, that's
weekend.
what I'm saying.
But
That
even then,
that
that would
white
still be with the European Eurocentric beauty standard.
right. So if you're not one of those two things, you're invisible. If you're
Mhm.
not youthful and appealing to the European gaze, the white gaze, and that unfortunately is a lot of modern gay culture.
Hence the
That
reason why I have the humor that I have because that's the only thing that actually like sticks out at people when I open my mouth and actually say something.
mm, it's
But
bitterness,
sorry, continue. Yeah, that too, and the
the
jadedness. All
jadedness.
all that gets
The
attention from people.
You would be the Dorothy Spornak of the group.
Absolutely, I should dye my hair just.
Star would be the Blanche. I guess I would be Sophia, but I think
Say
I'd be a
random
better
shit.
Rose Nyland. I don't know. I think I'd be a red
You do say random
I,
shit.
but I
It,
didn't think.
it's
I
it's
thought you you
though
wore
like
too much makeup and you were a slut. Now you wear just the right amount of makeup.
Rose.
My favorite Dorothy shade.
but like
Dorothy was just shady as fuck, just
she was
mean.
that was pure excellency right there.
I think you would be a lovely Dorothy Spornak.
I am Dorothy Sportneck.
Yes, you are. But even with Dorothy Sportneck,
Oh, I'm
she's
sorry, that was
still
Rose. My bad.
her Rose.
That
Rose
was
was shady too.
Rose
Rose,
had some. She perfectly timed her because it was just like, I'm not going to throw shade to throw shade. I'm going to very much try to be as nice as possible.
right,
And now you pushed me.
right.
Now you
But
said something out of pocket.
even in that, in the nice, you know how people are. Rose did the perfect woman sort of thing, that nice nasty, where
Mm-hmm.
like the shade is thrown, and then you walk away, and you're like, wait a minute, bitch, hold on,
Mm-hmm.
sort of
What you
like
say, baby?
thing. Yeah, women are very good at doing that. That was Rose Nyland, very feminine, very demure, but the shade was still thrown. The punch was still thrown. I
Mm.
can't help it if you didn't feel it until you left the room. You So I don't know. I love them. I
But
burned out on them though. I had one of those cable network things where you only have a few
mm,
set channels,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
like it was like that Madlock and something else, and I was like, I'm too young for this. I can't do this.
My, my grandmother used to watch like wet
In
old
the
Western.
heat of the night. Did your grandmother watch that?
Oh my God. She used to watch westerns. She used to watch like Andy Griffin. She used to watch
Mhm.
Matlock, like on reruns, like when they used to come on television,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And like the only time I would ever watch that stuff is when I'm with her. I would
Mhm.
never actively turn any of that shit on. If she's sitting there watching the
Something
Western, I'm
weird
just like,
something weird happens to old people. My dad used to watch just baseball and football and sports. Now sometimes, like I promise you, I can open this door and walk downstairs. It could be either Hawaii 5-0. I'm like, Hawaii 5-0? I mean the original, the black and white one. The book
Oh,
them dead right.
I think
Or
she used to watch like Knight Rider too and shit like they
hey,
watched all
wait
the
a
old
minute. Knight Rider was like that was the show though, with Kit the Car.
yeah, it was.
I really can't wait to see what generation. I can't wait to see what my generation starts watching when we get old. Like, do we just go back to our old stuff, or do we just move on to what everybody else had already been watching?
I think it's these shows like That's So Raven and stuff. Y'all will be watching that when you're
I would
like
imagine it would be
80.
shows like Scandal would be like a rerun.
Oh, we definitely gonna go back to Scandal and
I
the
think
first three
Scandal would be
seasons
one
of
of
How to Get
those.
Away with Murder. After that,
I've
you just kind
never
of.
seen an episode of Scandal.
I've
Me
never
neither.
seen a full episode of Scandal, but I definitely did have fun watching all the memes.
It'd
All
be
the
like
memes.
Bridgerton, like any show that's like Downton Abbey, like any show that's like
Twice as
Downton
good.
Abbey,
Twice
that's
as good. For what?
gonna
Half the
be
recognition.
I
a
guess maybe
rerun.
because like what I watch now is like Girlfriends and Living Singles. Like
Yeah.
I'll sit like Living Singles, the theme will come on. I'll just sit on the floor like, yeah, we are
Oh, I'm
living
watching that now. I'm really sorry to rewatch the whole season
single.
series now. Starting the last
Girlfriends is
The
an interesting
world.
watch now as a
I
more
love
emotionally
Girlfriends.
mature adult
It
because of just
is.
some.
Woo!
It's not quite as funny. It's more emotionally like, hey,
You realize
yeah.
that a lot of y'all are toxic and you don't
Hmm.
Yeah, like some of
that's
y'all
not
might be friends,
bad.
but y'all not friends.
Y'all not
Now
good to each other the way
Jabari,
y'all think.
Jabari never getting his name. Jehu,
Wait,
Like
what?
Tony, like
Jamar,
like Tony messing up the hell is it?
Jabari's name never
Yeah,
got it right once.
like Tony wasn't a good friend.
Tony. So, yeah. I
Joan
mean,
was, I think Joan
neurotic.
just wanted, she
Joan
wanted
was
to control
neurotic.
everything so badly, and it's like,
Yeah,
girl,
she was a
you better
control
know.
freak. She was neurotic.
Relax. Like,
Tony Tony had so many problems. Tony was my favorite character though. She had so many traumas and issues that she had to live through. You know who the most normal one was? I would say Maya, but not Maya. Oh, what's the light skinned one?
Oh, I know
Lynn,
what you're talking about. Because
Yeah,
Lynn.
ultimately, she was just really free flowing. It's just like
just went
I'm
along
kind of
with
just
life.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
And I
like
feel
her.
like it's a very there's a lot of black female life representation in that
Mhm.
series because
Oh, you.
there are the women who can just go with life and are having the greatest of times,
Oh, very
and then
Lynn.
much.
There's a lot of women like
Girlfriend.
Lynn today.
Oh yeah, Lynn. Yeah, the girlfriend's a squad.
oh yeah,
Just about every black woman I know, you have your squad like that where you can name who's Joan. Like right now, Blair's Joan. I'm a little bit of Lynn, a little bit of Maya. I have another friend that's definitely Tony. All day. But that's the squad. That's just your squad. They hit.
now you live with it, baby.
What'd you say?
I'm sorry, Tony really did have some good jokes though. She has some good one liners.
She, she was pretty funny. She was in her saltiness. She was pretty funny. But she, I mean, she did pretty good. She married a little dentist, right? She did a little care for herself. So
They got
She said she
divorced.
was gonna marry up, and she did not go back down.
I
I don't
say
know.
good day
I didn't like that last season. It was so weird to me. I was like, what is happening here?
after she left. Yeah,
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 and like
of
she
course.
explained it later on, like they did all four of them sat down for an interview, and
Mm.
I said this to my friend Cody last night. I was like, they're like the drama the actor version of Destiny's Child.
Oh my god.
Very much are.
You know what? I didn't think you were gonna say Destiny's Child. You know who I thought you were gonna say?
So,
In Vogue. That whenever I think
no,
of bad
they're
break, I think of In Vogue. I don't know why.
so Living Single, like Living Single's the coming
Yeah,
version of Destiny's Child. Like like
yeah.
they're all successful, but like one person broke out and became
When one person broke it, they broke it.
and like
And
Queen
In Vogue, I
Latifah
still don't
and
think they talk to
Christy
that girl to this
Allison.
day. I still don't think she fucks with them.
Who?
The one that left, the one that went to the other group and had problems with the other group,
So she was the issue.
possibly. Don't you
I
love
will.
people who like? I won't say the name, but there's a person that I was watching. They were popular back in the day, and they had a lot of issues, and so they came back to YouTube and they were talking about their lives. And every friend situation they had deteriorated, just blew up, just nasty. And they sat there and they were, they were going through it. And I was thinking to myself, child, you ever stopped and thought you're the common denominator in the last 10 friendships you just named?
Girl.
Yes, like I'm very much a believer. It's just like if the same thing has happened more than 2 or 3 times, maybe you should start looking inside.
And you were there with your fingerprints on it?
Mhm.
Maybe some introspection that it's what's that song? I'm the problem. It's me.
Oh, that Taylor Swift song.
Yes. Sometimes it's okay to admit, you know what? I'm problematic. I
That's
don't mix
all.
well with
A
others.
lot of people don't like. I actually own up to that too. Like I said this recently. I was like, I know I'm an asshole.
But I also blame kindergarten and first grade for why we got on them people like that. And the reason why I say that is there used to be a time where you could say, that person won't be my friend. And then you got in trouble for it. And they said, well, you tell that person. And then the teacher make you say,
They
like,
did.
you like them, you're going to be your friend. And then I feel like that socializes people to be like, I have to get along. I have to be friendly. And I should have friends. And I should be more warm or interpret myself as the warm.
You're right. As a person who's worked in preschool and kindergarten, I've done those exact words. Go back over there and tell him to share that with you that everybody in this classroom is friends.
And we not all friends. Lord knows we really not, because kindergartners can have some real beef with each other.
Oh yeah. Oh, all day, every day. The worst war crime we ever did for preschoolers and kindergartners though was we used to have
Not
these
war crime.
these these faces, right? They're like cartoon faces, and it had different emotions. We were trying to teach kids emotional regulation, right? And
Mhm.
so, one of them was the tattletale, right? The tattletale face, right? So whenever a kid would come, because kids are good kid, they go come and tell you what such and such said. We would tell them, go, don't tell us, go tattletale. And most times the kid would realize the absurdity of it and just go on with life. Not this little one girl. I never forget her. Kashan, I don't know. But she came up to me. She was burning to tell me something that happened. And I said, go tell it to Tattles. If she did not walk over there in that, that little paper cutout, I wish I had a camera. I'm like, she for real getting this. She is going to tell it to the Tattletale.
She's that neighbor
He
that's
said this is a story that must be told. Somebody, something
Keisha,
will hear my
Kashawn,
story.
whatever her name was, she was not going to be denied.
That's
Ain't
the
nothing
girl
like
that got all
seeing
the good tea in high school.
a
Oh my god.
5-year-old go back and forth with a piece of paper,
Oh, she's like, I'm
finger
gonna
in
tell
the
it like
paper.
it is, and you're gonna listen to me, man.
Yeah, but no, you're right. You're
Oh.
right. We do force people to because it's pro-social, right? In society that everybody has to get along. Don't leave anybody out. No, some people need to be left out. Some people don't need to be invited. You know why? Because
Some
they're
people
horrible
need to
people.
be shamed.
Yeah.
Some people need to be shamed.
So to bring shame back. Why do we ever lose shame? Sometimes
We didn't. It's just not effective. That's what it is.
Well, actually, no.
no.
See,
It's not
The
effective because
problem with the
we
shame
watered
culture
it
is
down.
you need a conformist culture to make it work. America is very good at applying guilt. We
Mm.
are very good at applying guilt. People with cancel culture, we are good at applying guilt.
I
Now, when it comes to shame, we are very bad at shame because we don't, it's just not something we do. Because to have a shame culture, you have to have a conformist culture. Everybody has to be on board, everybody's got to be on the thing. You got to think about the collective because that's the only
mm,
way shame works. You have to care about what the person next to you thinks. Because if you hear them shame you, you start feeling bad. And when you hear the collective shaming you, you start to really feel it. Whereas with guilt, all I have to do is all I got to do is say sorry, and I can move about my day. I can acknowledge that I did the wrong thing,
and still
and
keep
then move
doing
on.
it. Move on
Yeah.
and still keep doing it. Also, the thing with shame is in American culture that I find that it's still attention, right? That
Hmm.
person is still getting, and it seems to me, you younger people, you crave attention. You just crave it, good or bad. Like in psychology, we used to talk about good and bad attention and reinforcing this and that. Really, some of that is defunct because it's like y'all just crave attention.
People just looking for
That's
You don't,
because of YouTube.
huh?
That one,
Well,
that
yeah,
one I'll put on YouTube because whether you're good or you're bad,
you
you
just want to
can
be out
make it
there,
big. Yeah,
right?
and it can be a capital. It can bring you money. It can bring you the things that you want. Because the Logan Paul brothers are definitely not good people.
Perfect,
I say
perfect
that with my full chest.
example.
some people just need
Yeah,
a hug and nobody wants to give it to them.
perfect. Who?
Maybe
Some
some
people
people just
don't
need a
ask for a
hug.
hug, but then I also will say, as somebody who asks people for hugs but doesn't collect, sometimes you want a hug from a very specific person, and sometimes you just need to know that you have permission to get the hug. But we don't socialize people for that, so we gonna move on past that.
Hmm.
Why y'all hugging people? I guess I'm Gen X, and I just come from a generation where we don't touch each other.
I
We're like
hug the people.
cats.
I hug people I like. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
I make friends with touch aversionists, so I like to hug
Hard.
people who don't want to be physically touched,
It's a
and I
hard
don't force
pass.
it on them. But Lord knows, growing up, that was a very hard pill for me to swallow. Where it's just like, I like you, so I want to be like, I want to hug you, or I
Oh
want
my
to like
I
God,
hold
hate
your
the
Star!
thing I hate about
One of
being hugged
those.
sometimes.
You
The
are
thing I
not
hate
one of
about being
those
hugged
people.
sometimes is that if I'm in like around like gay men and some of them has a thing for like plus size, they just love to grab every part of my back, and I'm just like,
Like a cat making biscuits. Like,
or
oh,
like they think I'm like a giant teddy bear, and I'm like, come on, please. I get it.
oh
It's a hug.
yeah,
Like it's hot. I'm big. Like come on,
that's
move your arms. Let's
nice.
go.
That's full.
Jesus Christ.
And then there's me
No,
who shows up on
Star,
YouTube
you are
aesthetics.
not one of those people that, because I hate this. I've never had a man do it, but I've had women do it and I just want to punch them in the kidneys. They run up and hug you. And as they're hugging you, they're like, I'm sorry, I'm a hugger. That's how I get to know people. And then you've
Now,
got both hands to the side, traumatized like a child, saying, I am not a hugger. I really don't like people
You know
touching
what?
me. This is
Starmother
awkward,
can
isn't
attest to
it?
this. Remember, Starmother can attest to this story. Remember when LaShawn showed up late to my birthday?
yeah,
And he tried to hug me, and I just didn't even bother moving my arms.
You wouldn't let
yep.
LaShawn hug you. Oh, LaShawn's a
Well,
hugger.
No, he tried to make up for the fact that he was like 2 hours late to my birthday,
The hug ain't gonna
and
do
and
that.
then he
mm,
tried to hug me, and I'm sitting there like literally just like this, not moving my arms.
Yeah,
Our mother's over here in the corner laughing because of it.
you give pretty distinct. Like I never forget this. I was at a new school meeting the principal for the first time. So I walk into her office to just introduce myself. Pretty professional. She runs from behind the desk as I'm introducing myself, saying, "I'm Yvonne Pate. I'm your new school." She's like, "Oh my God, I'm a hugger. I hope that doesn't bother you." And just mouth right by my ear, talking in my ear, and I'm stiff, literally hands down, and I'm like,
And sometimes
okay.
you got to be in the mood for a hug. Let's just leave it at that. Like you
no,
have
you
to.
don't have to even be in a mood for a hug. This is HR worthy. This is so inappropriate. I
Well, yeah,
wish
that too.
I wish
I
my
am
reflexes would have kicked in and I wish I would have punched her in the kidneys. I really wish I would have done that. And I feel like I would have been in the right
Give
to
people
do that.
infections and shit.
You
self defense.
touched me.
I understand
Why
that.
are you
Why the kidneys?
touching me?
So I
No,
am not
people
one of
need to
them
push
people. I do not. The only people I hug are people who I know and I have permission from. because I got
Okay.
into a lot of trouble with that as a child. And,
Yes.
and my mom will quote it to this day, Maurice, you keep trying to hug and kiss on them girls, they gonna get their daddies on you. And I think that's around
Yeah.
the time it started to calm down
Come
because I
on,
was like, I
man.
Yeah.
don't want to fight a grown man. But
Yeah. You don't want to fight a grown man, and also as male presenting, you also don't want to give some women the wrong idea. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I've been
Especially
in
when that
that
facial hair come in.
situation. Huh?
Especially when the facial hair come in.
Yeah. Well, just some people are some people are so starved for attention that any attention you give them, like what's that? What was that TV show? Friend. Where the person friend was it No, it wasn't Simpsons. Where the person, I forget what cartoon it was, but the person, you know what one I'm talking about, right?
I have no
That the person showed some interest, and it all of a sudden the person became almost like what's that thing from
Obsessive.
yeah,
Yep.
friend. And it was like,
I
oh
have
God.
I gotta
But
make
you
that.
have people like that, that if like if you show just a little bit of interest, because people don't tend to show interest, so running up hugging people can give people the wrong idea. So you very much need to ask for consent.
I
Anybody I've hugged, and I've hugged a couple of kids and children when they're really going through it, I will always ask a child, is it okay if I give you a hug? Would you like a hug? Because you may not want a hug.
No, if you were my school counselor, Yvonne,
Don't
I
touch me.
definitely would tell. Yeah, no, you would have had that issue with me because I'm
I don't
very
think
much.
it would. I don't think it would be like a council session. I think it would just be sitting there talking shit the whole time. Like it
Oh,
wouldn't
very
be.
much. My therapist knew, like, I was a very self-aware child. I would understand a lot of what I was doing, but the problem was
Yeah.
like I could not figure out how to break my own
Yeah.
cycles,
Mhm,
and the adults could not help me break my own cycles because they didn't have. It just wasn't happening,
mhm.
or we weren't getting to that part of the conversation.
Yeah,
So,
school therapy doesn't usually go that deep, like how you're gonna break cycles. It's more like
mhm.
school therapy is just a band-aid. Like, please don't go back to class and make an ass of yourself. Just we got 45 minutes left in this day. Oh my God.
Well,
I was a
Just
crybaby and I was depressed. And it wasn't like
oh,
I wasn't coming in for like little stuff. Like it was genuine, like I need help with emotional regulation. I need something. I need to feel like I'm talking to somebody and they're listening.
you needed more
Because
than 10-15 minutes of somebody seeing them once a week, maybe if they had time. And that's always been my biggest beef with counseling. Didn't do a lot of it, I'll be honest, as a school psychologist, because I was itinerant. I had 4 and 5 schools, moving around, meetings. So, and that's like just the reason you said that's awful, to build up a relationship with a child and know that I can't consistently be there, when you do have those things, because then it breaks trust, you
mhm,
know? So, I'm one of those people, I don't know if you've just discovered this about me. I pretty much walk the walk if I talk the talk. If I say it, I'm gonna damn sure try to make it happen. I'm not gonna try to promise you something, as a child, as an adult, and so I just think schools need to do better with kids, especially kids. The funniest thing is, a lot of the kids, this is Pride Week, but a lot of the kids that I worked best with, and a lot of the people that I worked best with, were queer. So I was part of, in Charlotte, part of the queer group of people.
mhm,
Um, and so, doing things like, even simple things like in our reports, honoring pronouns, honoring the way the child identifies, when it comes to things like reporting when a child comes to you, because you do have kids come to you saying, some
mhm.
things because they're going through things, and some things you're like, oh, wait a minute. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Is that
Mhm.
happening?
People really underestimate that there will be small children going through grown adult
Oh yeah.
problems.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Especially
And
the
it,
sexual identity stuff, like you always had kids that were just openly, wherever they got the confidence from, they got they come in they were always, but then you had those kids that, kind of flew under the radar, you know,
mhm,
um,
oh, I
you
was watching.
know, hmm?
No, sorry. I was watching this clip of some other podcast, and they were talking about like there were two gay men, and they were talking about like, oh, like stop saying like every 5 year old is gay. And I'm like, sweetheart, but there's some 5 year olds you could tell they are.
there are
Like
some
you
5-year-olds
can
who
tell.
already know who have had their first crush on a boy
Mhm.
And this other boy doesn't even know what's going on. He's just kind of like, yeah, that's my friend.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell, sweetie. Like, it's not a mystery. I'm like, girl, he's gonna be a whole sissy when he get older. Let's stop beating around the fucking
I
bush
re-
here.
my first in so my first time interacting with a gay male was in first grade. His name
I
was
can believe it.
Mario. He was Filipino.
I can believe it.
He, oh Jesus Lord, that voice, squeaky mouse. I remember it was the last few days of school, and my teacher, my first grade teacher, Miss Bowles, rest her soul, she said, "Can you please just be quiet? Your voice is just so," and she might have said annoying, but it was kind of like
Mm.
Mario
Oh.
again, very loud, very rainbow, very pride, and we don't know what happened to him to this day, but I hope he's living his best life.
I hope
But
so.
I hope you're
but
living your best life. Yeah.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
like
yeah.
everybody in the class was like, we weren't even mad about about her saying that because we all kind of knew it was just like, yeah, no, that is a high pitched voice, and if you're just trying to teach a class and you got him sassing in the background with his best friend, Lord knows.
I mean, it's just yeah. And in preschool, because we're not trying to put labels on any kids in preschool and kindergarten, we used to have this was the best one. We used to have playstations, like just areas to play, kitchen area, dress up area.
Oh, I'm having a flashback.
We're not going to stop a child from grabbing a dress and heels. We're just not. We're not. You know what I
I
mean?
remember in kindergarten we had like a little kitchen area. Oh, I'm having
Mhm.
a flashback.
And let me tell you, some boys would be the first ones there to throw down over those dress and heels.
I was
And
like,
fathers would come in, don't have my son dressed. Sir, I'm not going to wrestle a 5-year-old in a dress to get him off. I'm just not going to do that.
he's just a
You
boy
come
in a
in here
dress.
and tell him, and I'm like, the literature is there is nothing just because he chooses to wear a dress and heels or he chooses to clean up in the kitchen or there is nothing indicative. That's just pro-social behavior. That's just wanting to fit in. And then you have to confront people. And if it is him saying, hey, I just might be open to these things as I get out, what's the problem with that? I
This
cannot tell you
me
the meaning of
stopping
that.
this little boy from trying to wear that dress is not going to stop what is inevitable,
What is
Exactly.
inevitable? But I
because
can't tell
all it's
you
going to
how
do is
many
delay.
meetings we had where parents were livid. And I don't want you to look. Your child is not meeting any of the markers for pre-reading. You're not here to talk about that with us. No, but you want me to make sure I
They
remove the
failed math
dress,
class, but you're worried about them being okay.
right?
Your
People,
baby
people.
cannot read. He can't do simple arithmetic, and
He can't do
he can
one
barely
plus
tie
one
his own
equals two.
shoes.
But you worried
And
about
you
him
want me?
sitting next to this boy.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't his problem.
Mm-hmm.
Math is his problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Reading
just
is his problem.
thank
Comprehension,
you.
Lord knows, he's been a disciplinary issue from day one, and it's not because of the dress. It's because he
Thank
can't
you.
listen and he can't understand. Come
Thank
on now, let's
you.
Yes,
root cause
Let's
analysis. Root
focus.
cause analysis,
but
people.
he is just a boy in a dress.
Right. Would you rather, and you can put it this way.
Too
Would you
wrongful.
rather him wear dress, heels, and makeup and be able to read and write? Because I mean,
I'd
there's
rather him like
we can only focus on so many things, but we are not going to terrorize a 5-year-old, and pull it. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of I couldn't even imagine doing things. I'm sure there's probably teachers that did do that. Sidebar: Did y'all did y'all hear about the legislation they were trying to pass to test America's waters for? Get ready for it. You ready? For abortion medication. It says like so not for lead. No, 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 not lead. But you want to test America's water, drinking water for
I
abortion
hate
medication.
how dumb this country has gotten so badly, and how so many people allowed it to happen.
Uninformed voters. We have a 50% literacy rate, which means the reading comprehension is probably closer to 20 or 30%.
And it's
Uh,
because a lot of parents wanted to swing on us on unimportant things. You're focused on this, and this. Hey, we're telling you your child is in 6th grade reading at a 2nd grade level. We've been saying this for a while. All the day. People don't
Like
know that.
I'm I'm glad that you're happy that your child doesn't have to play against a transgender student. But when the public schools get shut down, don't come crying to my doorstep.
Right. That's not your issue. Transgender students are not your issue.
They,
That is that as a person who
the
spent 20 years in
extracurriculars.
public education, people, that's not your
I mean,
issue.
your kid doesn't have a school to go to, or has a school to go to, but he has to learn a curriculum that you know for a fact you don't want him to learn, or has to go to school and he doesn't have a school lunch. Be happy they don't have to play basketball against a guy.
No, because I had a conversation with somebody this week. Because then all the parents are just gonna be like, okay, I'll homeschool my kid, having none of the credentials and none of the actual attitude to try to homeschool a child.
And then when
There-
you lose your health care and you have to not only work more hours to get more money to pay for the health care that you have to get, how exactly are you going to homeschool your kids?
Let me tell you about homeschool.
Mhm.
So there's no real standard for homeschools.
Not one bit.
I never forget the saddest case I had was this kid that was in 12th grade. Was Elon. I was working at a district near Elon University. His parents were kind of wealthy, the kind of wealthy that do endowments to a university. I think they bought a bench or something at Elon, so he was going to get in. So I was testing him, which is really unusual for a school psychologist to be testing a senior. That's a red flag. Like, why are we I'm coming in. So my job, I'm coming in looking at cognitive abilities, social, emotional. So what's going on? So we tested him, and I remember when I was testing him, he said, "Ma'am, I know I can't read." Excuse me. This says I'm taking out the kit. He's like, I know. He said, I'm just scared to death. I'm going to college next year. I don't, know what to do. And we sat there for about 30, 40 minutes, and I gave him some strategies. I said, so yeah, sure enough, his mom, they took him out of school, they homeschooled him. His mom was a second grade teacher. She had this, right? She's homeschooled the whole lot of them. She did not have this, especially kids who have any sort of real reading issues like dyslexia or any sort of any issues like that. That is hard. You need, talk shit all you want about public education, but we do have the expertise and money in these areas to help kids. And when we can help kids, we do amazing things. It's just that
Mhm.
we get marred down because parents send us kids with a lot of fucking issues. And when you got classes full of kids with all these fucking issues, it's kind of hard to get to the crux of reading when you are worried about your mom getting her head bashed in by the man that got out of prison that she shacked up with. Because if she doesn't shack up with him, you have no other place to live. You know what I mean? So when real world
Mhm.
issues are present, a lot of time learning is hard. But for this
No,
kid, oh, sorry.
no, I was just gonna say, I was just like, that's the reason why I say it's just like if you want a good school or a good public school education, then go to the Northeast because they got great programs there. And if you look at the demographic
Mhm.
and you look at the mean income, house income,
Mhm.
it makes it a lot easier for those kids to just sit there and focus. When I was in the Southern California public school education system, one of the things until they gave us free lunch, I was one of those kids that would sneak out of lunch if I knew that I was like, oh, you ain't got enough money on your card. All of a sudden, I would sneak off. And my teacher told me you could get a cold lunch, and I was like, I'm not about to be humiliated in public. I'd rather just go
Mhm.
hungry.
What
At
was it?
least that.
Sunflower? Was it sun butter?
I don't even remember what it was. I never got the
Sun
cold
butter.
lunch. I just said it was.
Mhm.
I wasn't going down like that. You're not
It's
gonna catch me slipping.
Star,
Amazing.
you're gonna laugh at this, maybe. I don't know. But back when I first started in education, California was our lead. Everybody had to catch up to California.
Oh,
California was putting out all the assessments. California was the standard that all other states needed to catch up with. And I'll be honest with you, I've looked at reports from all over the country. New York and California still are at a higher standard than most states.
Which is crazy
You
because
know,
mhm.
that's what niggas
which
I went
which is cray cray. But you guys, your reading standards, your rigors are higher, than certainly most southern states, certainly more than Texas.
which is why I don't get why they get to dictate how the rest of the country acts when y'all motherfuckers are just in the shit every single year.
Well, because to keep that level, that costs a lot of money too, right?
Yes, because it takes a heavy amount of investment because they
Mhm,
were giving us free lunches.
mhm,
Um,
I didn't
there were
forgot.
all these different reading programs, which means that you got to
mhm.
have a well-funded library. You got
And
to
you have
have
to have a
librarians.
specialist in each one of those areas. All those programs come with specialists.
Yes, because I also remember we had multiple different reading classes for those people who had reading issues, whether that be dyslexia or they were
Hmm.
coming from a second language, so they needed some extra help. So
Hmm.
they would spend an
ELL,
hour with the speech developist. Yeah.
speech
Um,
pathologists, all those people are specialists. We are all specialists, and we're top of our field, PhDs. You're going to pay us for that, and work. Like I said, when we work with children, we can make things happen. People talk shit about public education. I take a little offense to it, but it is because public education is overrun with so many problems. We're dealing with the public. That's why I always take offense to charter schools, because people are like, oh, well, charter schools know how to do it. No, charter schools pick and choose who they want. Charter schools can also put out behavior problems. I'm sorry, I'm hijacking this. I'm getting on my high horse, but back
Well,
I
to
mean, this
date.
is stuff that affects the gay community because we got a whole lot of people who don't know how to read, who aren't well socialized, who don't understand public hygiene, who don't understand how to be empathetic and caring. The amount of issues that the gay community has because we get so stuck on the vanity and beauty of a person based on the Eurocentric standards, like this stuff does matter.
It
It starts with
does.
their children.
It does.
It
Trey in our meeting the other night, he was like, "Why
oh
don't you eat
Lord.
ass?" I was like, "Because I fuck with straight men. I ain't eating the ass of no straight man. They don't know how to wash." And I don't find it cute to say, "Come on, let's go take a bath. Let me wash you." What?
Because Yvonne don't want to be a mama. She said,
No, not a
I want
mama
an
in that
already
way.
made, yeah. You want an already fully actualized man who knows how to take care of himself and wash himself and is just there to look pretty and not cause you any more headaches.
all right.
Yes.
Well,
It's
speaking of
very simple.
Oh my
the
god. A
poorities of our
Polynesian
community,
dude. I'm
I'm going to
sorry.
I'm going to speak of the poorities of our community. I'm going to talk about my weekend.
I'm sorry. Yes, let's get to your weekend. Yes.
So briefly, I will sum this up because about to wrap it up. So I will explain what I did this past weekend. I went to an event called Frolic Weekend.
Mm,
Those of you out there who don't know, Frolic Weekend is a 6-day event that happens in Provincetown, Massachusetts, and it is a black and brown queer, gay, trans sort of experience of events throughout a series of 6 days. So some of them, so
which you would think, why Massachusetts for black and brown, but go.
I don't know because I think other states it'll just be fights all the time.
Okay.
Atlanta. That's not a state, but Lord
Looking
knows.
at you, Atlanta.
Big
Okay.
cities like Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, Miami, even New York too. But anyway, I went to this event for 4 days. It was probably it was an interesting event. So
Mhm.
relatively, I'm going to I have a whole entire blog about it.
Mm.
Lots of the vlog I Lots of the weekend I didn't vlog for certain specific reasons that I'll say in the blog itself, but I did get enough to really like full to have like a whole 40-minute thing. Um, a lot of you guys will be seeing my face really up close, so be prepared for that. It's my first time vlogging, so it will be uploaded to this channel. But
Do you feel
the
comfortable talking to yourself as you walk around?
I
I'm
was
sure there
fine
were
with
so
it.
many
I
people vlogging though.
I did not vlog. Well, I didn't see many people doing that, but I did not vlog
Oh.
until I got to Boston. I did not
Mm,
vlog anything in New York. I literally vlogged a little bit of me on the bus, and then once I got to Boston, that's when I started vlogging because that's when I ran
mm,
into some people.
mm,
It was a fun experience because you're surrounded by just a lovely sea of melanin, lovely
mm.
a collective sea of melanin too.
And
So
there's a lot of Asians there too, because there's an Asian content creator that I follow, a comedian. He
uh
goes to
he was
Frolic.
there too. Yeah, he was there. I saw him.
You know who I'm talking about? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
they
okay.
do panel discussions. Yeah. They do panel discussions. They host day parties. They have nighttime parties and everything like that. And everything has a theme too.
Mm,
So the three parties that I went to. So the first thing that I went to when I got there was a networking mixer where you just talk to people, you go up to them and ask them questions and really talk to them about stuff and everything like that. That was cool. We got there kind of like the tail end, so it is what it was. And then there was like parties that have like they have a pool party, they had an underwear theme party, and then they had a boat party, and then they had like a Met Gala meets camp theme party, and then they
did
had
they have a party with a purpose? Sorry, go ahead.
the thing about it was like somebody had pointed out the fact that whilst we love to like enjoy each other's company and have a good time and party, I
Mhm.
don't think it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary to have a pool party and then have an underwear party the same day.
Why?
That's literally the same thing, but just wet.
Yeah. Well, I
Like literally
guess.
the same shit.
But it
But
gives you a
anyway,
chance to have different
No,
like
no, no.
outfit.
One, you get to wear a jock strap. The other one, you have to have a swimsuit on. You can't be going to the pool in a jock strap.
oh no, trust me, there
Apparently,
was girls that was in jock straps.
apparently you gays are all on the same page with jock straps. I thought that was part of your uniform.
For a
But
lot of them, it
no,
was.
some of
So
you gays are not on board with the jock strap. We'll have to put that
I'm
on our
not.
discussion.
My
Really?
my thighs touch.
not this too
And
much.
I'm not trying to get no dark spots. I'm not trying to get chafing, really. The dark spots is one thing, but the chafing is the problem.
I
So
mean, the jock strap is about the booty.
and not
I don't
So,
need a jock strap to emphasize
let,
what I got.
let me not.
okay, are you about the jock strap?
Yeah, right. You're out of your fucking mind.
What? What? Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, so they had a couple of panels during that time there. The first 2 days was not there for. I was there for the last. I was there for like 3.5 basically. Well, 2.5 technically speaking, but that's whatever. They had a screening for a movie that was like a short film, I believe it was. I was not there
Yeah,
for
they
that.
did have some movies. Yeah.
Yeah, they had a panel about non-monogamy. I definitely was not there for that. Sorry.
Mm,
And if you are a non-monogamous person, no disrespect, but that is perfectly fine for you.
okay.
They had a panel about kinks and fetishes, which was, same
Mm,
thing. Much respect to you. Was
okay.
really interested in that panel. And
So,
then they
what
had
dry ass panel did you go to?
the one panel that I knew one person on.
Oh,
Oh, you went to
Yeah.
Nico's.
So I
oh,
went to his panel,
but that was sex
and
work, so that wasn't
yeah,
dry.
it wasn't dry, but I'm not
Mm.
gonna say too much.
Oh my
Okay.
god. Oh my
It was
god.
it was a decent it was a good panel. They did their
Mhm.
job. They got asked questions and everything like that. The
Mhm.
parties were the first 2 nights of partying. I was kind of just like, I don't feel comfortable being here. Not because I don't feel like I should be in this room, but I just don't feel like comfortable being at a party. And then the last party, I actually did enjoy myself because I actually did talk to some other people, and
Why didn't you feel comfortable?
that's just in my nature not to feel comfortable in a large room full of people.
Hmm.
I can get that. Too
That's
many
just
people around.
naturally.
I like clubs for the music, but when too many people get involved and or a
It's
circle starts forming around me, I start feeling really uncomfortable.
to which
Hmm.
a certain someone had to argue with me about why I don't like nightclubs and the reason why I left the nightclub one time. Not because not only was it because it's crowded, it was also fucking hot, and he knew that, and he still tried to argue with me why I don't like nightclubs.
So you don't use a strategy of just like picking out someone like you. You're gonna be my person for the night. What are you
I was
drinking? Where
I
are
was
you
hanging out
from?
with Zaquan the entire time.
Toledo. That sounds
Well, we
interesting.
did
You
do
doing
that the last night. I
Toledo?
did talk to a few people, and I did exchange Instagrams and them with them and everything like that. So it do still be in communication for next year.
I
That's
feel like you
good.
should have been
Yeah,
there for
Toledo.
that. I really wish you would have been there early for that networking panel. We needed more guests.
Shut up.
We need
Next
sponsors.
time,
Yeah.
send me. I will get us the niggas.
All right. Well,
We need the money. We're
I will
trying to get
say
a budget, and you are holding us back.
oh, I'm holding us back.
This is
Excuse
for the
me.
group. This is for the group. All right.
No, fuck this family.
Oh,
The family didn't fuck your husband.
ouch.
We didn't fuck your husband.
But I was
Don't,
gonna help
don't.
what somebody would say.
All
Oh
right.
But
We
Lord.
didn't do all that.
the pool party was actually kind of cool.
Mhm.
Um, as thing is like I think I
Did
wasn't.
you wear a swimsuit?
I wore a pair of black shorts that I had that looked like swimsuits, but I didn't have any. I had a pair of swim trunks, but they're too small for me to wear, so I didn't wear that. So I just wore some black shorts that came with like a short set I had,
Mhm.
a mesh top and like a tank
A
top.
mesh
Yeah,
top.
a mesh top.
Okay.
I have a mesh top.
Not
So yeah.
showing a little bit of
I
nipple.
know, a little
No,
nipple.
I
Did you
still
wear
show a tank top.
pasties?
No, I
You
Oh
did
wore
not.
my
pasties.
Although
god.
somebody was wearing pasties. Y'all see the
That's
video. Y'all see the outfit that I had on. And that's what I
mhm.
wore.
Mhm.
I enjoyed myself there because whilst all these events were going on and whilst so many are there to like meet new people, it's also just a hotbed of
What are
sex
you laughing about, Star? What are you
Sorry, I
laughing?
saw the chat. I saw the chat.
I
What's in the
what's the
chat?
who's in the chat? Oh, there's 5 people in the chat.
No,
We
it's
have to-
CKC.
Be a team player. Oh, fuck off, CKC.
I'm sorry. I saw that and I was like, ooh.
I'm not in the mood for you.
Hey, CKC, I'm sorry we've been ignoring you.
Be a
Yeah,
team
I
player.
agree.
I haven't,
CKC,
but
be a fucking
Fuck
team
off.
player.
All right. Anyway,
Which
whilst
well, we
there's
got
all
you
these,
here, CKC. What's your
whilst
type?
all
What are
these
you looking
parties,
for?
shut up,
Oh,
whilst all these events and stuff are going on, obviously there's the overall just like meeting new people and enjoying each other, enjoying other black and brown people from across the country and everything, and having a good time. There's also the underline of like most people are going to be getting really wild with each other. I saw one dude literally try to make out with at least 5 different people at the same party, and he was just drunk off his ass. So he was trying to do it to any person who would have said yes. There was also
okay.
one dude trying to flirt with an influencer who paid him dust the entire time.
Shoot your shot. I
Which
mean,
was, I mean, yes, it was also funny to watch because I was.
so were there a lot of influencers there?
There was a few of them there that I recognized. There was a few adult stars there as well.
Oh, really? Did people try to shoot their shot with the fuck the influencer? I'm gonna shoot my shot with this adult stars, porn star.
Well, based off of what one of
Cool.
them had explained, he does not do it unless he's actually getting paid for it and there's a camera in front of him, which is respectable.
Oh,
I mean, they.
So
I
he's
mean,
very.
So.
So in
Payment is
practice or in real life, he's closer to asexual.
He's a sex worker. He's an escort and all that stuff. So like it's about just like.
so if there was no camera but just payment,
Probably
Yeah,
you could
yes,
convince him.
but like it's
But
just
the camera is
like,
what makes it legal.
he's
Remember,
not. He's,
the camera
he's
makes
not,
it legal.
He's just not in the. He just doesn't do it just to do it. So
fair, which is fair.
which like whatever, fine, that's cool.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I can respect those boundaries. You know.
I also did talk to him too as well because
Although I would love to be that douchey person like men are like, but you haven't experienced this pussy. You know, like one of those people that just
trust
doesn't want to
believe me,
take
there
no.
was a lot of men flirting with each other and all that shit. And the only man that I got had a complete boyfriend, so I was like, okay.
There were women at the party, or
There were some
yeah.
that were there.
Yeah, when I saw some video, I was like, oh, so there are women that go to Frolic. So it is lesbian and gay.
There were some women there. I did not see too many, but there were
Oh,
some.
literally gay for pay. No, wait. So no,
No,
that
this one he's
that
not
wouldn't be gay for
He has
pay.
a,
That
he has a
yeah,
partner and everything. He had a partner.
gay for pay, to my understanding, is men who are not gay ordinarily, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
who just do it for the money. Like so many
Who
of
just
them on men.com who pretend like they're not gay, but let's be real.
Oh,
Hey,
you're one
at
of
the end of the
those
day,
people.
money talks.
You're one of those
And
people, are you?
some people are cash sexual.
Oh no, we can talk about that. CKC knows about that because he was on one of our conversations where we talked about queer baiting, and we're gonna bring that back, CKC, so you can come back up here again. Just to let you know that.
No, I mean one of those people that oh, he's gay. He's just pretending, like why are we policing people's lives? Whether they're gay for pay, straight, whatever. You don't have to support them if you don't want to support them.
I damn sure don't. Some of them are terrible at it. If they were better at it, I would actually would, but I like that. Y'all bad at this shit. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm just big on if you're not, that's not your thing, don't, you don't have to support them.
I completely agree. Overall, I have an entire vlog for this. I gave my 2 cents about the frolic experience from me personally. I have already purchased a ticket for next year, so that tells you that I'm going to go back again. I also is it near me? Because I have a gift that I bought myself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hold on, I have to find something real quick.
I would like to also go to Frolic Weekend, but I don't know if I'll be working or not. And I'll be working in a place where I can't say no to. So therefore, I am not going.
When is your tour over, friend? When you can start to have more autonomy over like shit?
2 years from now. Well, actually, no, 1 year from now. 1 year from August.
So
1 year
there's
from August.
several things that I purchased. A lot of gifts for people. I bought them little things. I bought my friend a necklace and a bracelet. I bought another friend 2 ankle bracelets. I bought my mother like a t-shirt. My sister like a parasol. And stuff like that.
It's hot. It's hot in New York.
I bought her a parasol and like a little placard that she could put above her door. there was also this store that like had like a lot of novelty games and stuff like that and like unique shit. So one of them was they had decks of cards for different themes.
Mhm.
So I got me these, which are
Ooh,
Wicked
pretty.
themed deck of
It's
cards.
gold. Yeah, it's gold. It's
Good
pretty.
news.
It's Wicked themed deck of cards.
Oh, it's
I got
wicked. Okay.
yes, it's Wicked. I
Mm,
also
mm.
got
Was
my
that-
sister a Naruto deck of cards and
Oh,
another deck of cards that has like
Naruto.
I didn't
it's
know
like
she
a
was into that.
yeah, she is. And it's also like she also has another deck of cards that are like black. So they like have like black people on them as the kings and queens
Oh,
and everything like that. It's just
Oh,
fire. They're amazing. I
nice.
also purchased me this bag.
Yes, I remember the bag.
and
This
it is
Very
bag
beautiful.
right
nice.
here, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be a one of a kind. That's
Hmm.
what the lady told me. Because this brand does not replicate any of these bags more than once. So
Okay. Have you
I'm
seen it anyplace else? Then it's one of a kind.
I did Google it. I saw someone on eBay for it with like $150. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's true. But
Okay.
I have it.
Right. Most people don't have it. It's
Yes, that is true. So most
mostly
likely,
unique.
most people will not have this bag, which is great.
Hmm. I love that. I love items
Overall,
you don't see on everybody else.
Frolic as a whole
Hmm.
is a great idea. I
Hmm.
love the concept of it, just having this event where black and brown people, gay
Hmm.
men especially, can come together and meet new people and do all these things
Hmm.
and everything like that. But if I
Here we go.
had, well, no, these are fair trade.
Here we go.
I know, but even you would kind of attest to this as well. Whilst I understand, and even Zaquan said this, and other people have probably said the same thing too. Whilst I understand that the sexual aspect of our community is very prevalent, yes, I understand there's people who are not monogamous, who like kinks and fetishes, who are interested in understanding sex work much more. There are also other elements of our community that do not get emphasized enough. That I think that this is the type of event that could really emphasize on them just as much. They can talk about body dysmorphia. They can talk about people who are different sexualities, like pansexual and everything like that. They can talk about things like being extremely feminine and then being perceived extremely masculine and
Or
dealing
how
with
Eurocentricity is hurting the black and brown communities and finding love and
that
the
too.
acknowledgement that
They can they can talk about loneliness and dealing with like dating and stuff like that. They can talk about being like like I said, bigger bodies like myself could be like sit there and discuss this shit. They can talk about the feminine presenting men of the world and do they feel more accepted or less accepted and shit like that. There's so many other things in our community, especially as black and brown people, that don't get emphasized enough. We just focus on the sexual aspect of it all, which is still important. Like, yes, that is still something that needs to be educated as well. But let's talk about some other topics that I think that were really things that don't get talked about that really was trying to light and make people feel seen in this type of environment.
So why don't
and
you
I will say
contact them and ask them about that?
I was tempted to. I was tempted to actually reach out and
don't
ask
be
them.
tempted, just do it.
Just
It's for
do
the
it.
team.
Right. Don't be
Yeah,
tempted. Just do it.
I should because I really would love to see like if they would actually just do like one panel about like being
You
plus
Like
size
know
or being
like
extremely
I get
feminine.
sex, drugs, and alcohol sell.
yeah.
I'm not against it. I
Yes, and
understand
that's
that.
true.
But
Like
what you can do is sneak in more stuff that actually matters.
and
Right.
then like I
More
said,
mental health, more wellness, more things like that. I would
that
contact them and ask them.
and
Especially
like
this would be the time to do it while they're in the planning stage rather than waiting till closer when everything is kind of finalized and they have the panels and everything.
yeah, I like I said, one person that we all know, Nico, he was on a panel, so he talked about his work in sex work and everything like that, which was great. I again, but I like I said before, I wish that they actually being a
Mm-hmm.
spokesperson. Yes,
Mhm.
I will reach out to them and speak to them about it. But
Yeah.
like I
Thank
said
you. Thank
before,
you.
Mhm.
I think that there's some aspects that really can be emphasized as much as anything else. And as far as like the parties go and everything like that, so all the parties kind of ended at 1 o'clock because that's when they kind of like shut down. Like everything kind of closes after a certain point. Not to say
Might be
right
that might
there.
be
Yeah,
you
it
know,
just it's the city, it's
City
the town
ordinance.
or
itself.
city
Not like
ordinance, yeah.
yeah, it's just the town itself. It shuts down after a while. So there's
Well,
very
that's
few
why
places to
like I
stay
was like,
overnight.
why Providence Town? Why there? Like why not more of
You
a,
know,
you know,
yeah,
but I
They
I
can
guess
stay
that
up a little
understand
bit
also
why.
later.
I guess that also offers some insulation, that it could just be mostly
And
one
it's
group.
and and just as Providence Town alone, it is the gayest city ever. I did not feel uncomfortable wearing any of the shit that I wore.
Well, and let me ask you this: would either one of you ever do the cruises, like the gay cruises, the
That looks
seamen?
like the ninth circle of
Where's
hell.
my camera?
No,
There's a seamen at sea.
it's too crowded. That's the landscape to really make you feel like, oh wow, this is shit. Like I feel bad. That's why I don't like most of our community. I'm not doing this.
See, my problem with cruises is not inherently what Ken is talking about. That is a valid concern, and I don't de emphasize his issues. My problem is, as a child of Navy parents who's been on boats and will have to be on boats, I don't like boats.
Mm,
That's just a me thing. So if you
mhm.
wanted me there for anything longer than 3 days, you kind of got me. Yeah, you
Yeah,
got me for 3 good days. I wake up, I come in, have a good time, see people. I wake up, see what I can get, or do what I need to do, and then the next day I wake up, get myself ready to go and go home.
all
So,
with a frozen margarita in my hand.
which is like yes and nice. They also did have a boat party as well there
Did you
too,
hear
which
something? It
I
sounded
did
like a
not go
boat,
to.
like a. I swear to God, like I heard it. That's what made me look.
Oh my god, Yvonne's hallucinating.
I think she really wants this. You know what?
I
If
think
the
she really
people
wants a cruise.
sponsor, if we get sponsored, you can get me to do a whole lot of things.
But like I said, I have an
If
entire
Frolic
vlog.
sponsors us, I'll come up and talk.
I have an
What are you gonna
entire
talk about?
vlog. It will be uploaded at some point. I'm still kind of doing the final touches on it. It's not the best vlog, obviously. It's literally the first one for this channel, so
Don't apologize for your content. Just put out the
Yeah,
content, beloved.
just
exactly.
put it
Yeah,
up.
I will.
They're
Look,
getting
Overall,
Nika,
this shit for
we're not
free.
doing what Nico Aesthetics does. Yes, I'm adding him. We're not going to do that. What he did when he first started out and apologize for what our content looks like. We made the
Absolutely
video.
not.
We brought ourselves to the table, and that's
Thank
all
you.
we ever
oh,
said we
and
were going to
also another
bring.
thing,
You hoes are
Nico,
getting this for free. Free
Nico,
99. You get
Nico
what
kept
we
saying
give. Shit.
when the first day we was there, we went to the networking mixer, and Nico was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go to network because we're vloggers now." And I'm like, "Bitch, you haven't raised your camera once this entire thing. What the fuck are you talking? Like,
I
you're
mean,
not
he's still
vlogging
a
shit right now.
vlogger.
I've been doing all of it.
Yeah, no, Nico isn't a vlogger, and I don't think necessarily it would be bad for his brand, but
Mm-mm.
It
I've
would have
said
been
that
good
it
to him. I think
would.
it'd
content.
be
I don't
fun
think he has
because
a. I don't think he has the attention span for it. Not in the sense like he's already got himself in so many different pots
Um,
mm,
between club, another club, sex
a
event,
bus, a
if
Brazil.
he were traveling with
swing.
someone who could vlog, who could, kind of do that content, because some of the things he does, like Barcelona and London, those are vlog worthy. Those are so much fun.
But he
Um,
doesn't have the attention span to keep that
Brazil.
up. Also, as he said many times, and as people who have said him, vlogging has a level of immersion and parasocial BS. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he would have to turn on the personality for a much longer period of time. And I
Yeah.
don't think he really has that in it. Like he's already trying to be social enough, so it's just an extra thing. Not everyone is a fan of. True.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, vlogging does make it much more intimate, where people feel like they know you a bit more. But even with commentary, social commentary, he's been doing it so long that people walk up to him and feel some kind of, I don't know, that does take a special personality to be able to deal with that. Because you do have people who blur the lines between, look, I just twice a week read the tea leaves. I'm not your friend. Friends. I'm going to find out what cartoon that was, that she befriended the girl and the girl was like, friends.
Oh
And
my goodness.
I can't
So
remember what it was, but it's hilarious.
we're gonna wrap up this episode. Would I recommend going to Frolic? Yes, I would. If you even if you're not a party person, you can meet people who are just like don't like to be in parties either, and they're cool people. I met some great guys there. They were very nice, and some of them were very cool, and they got all the bad jokes that I was making, which I loved so much. And I'm definitely gonna go next year. I already got my ticket for it, even though some circumstances are gonna change. But I will still be making my way to Provincetown next year to go visit this place.
And the good thing is you have put out feelers and you've met people who are serious about it, who have gone once, and if they say they're going to go again, good chances are they'll go again. So you're developing a cohort, almost a travel cohort or
Yeah,
a meetup cohort, and those types of things can last for years and years and years. How many, well, speaking as someone in their 50s, how many times you have friends that, like, oh, we'll meet up in where we always meet up. We always meet, and when we get together, it's always a good time, and then we go our separate
I
ways. And
I'm going to spend the next year trying to convince other people that I know to please come to this, so that way I have more people to hang out with during this time.
Maybe you should convince a certain kind of fairy that needs to get her pussy game. Let me stop. Anyways,
At least
we
I
made
said
it
his
an
name the
hour
first
and
time,
19 minutes.
and not a fairy
a
this
whole
time.
hour and 19 minutes before we. I don't know
You
what
Well,
y'all
know,
got against my
we're
sweet baby.
there's nothing that we'd have nothing against LaShawn. We just like calling him a fairy.
and it's much easier. And it's like we're not naming him as often.
It's so funny.
Well,
Like
until you just dropped his
you-
name.
it's a pronoun, it's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective, it's all them shits. Like, girl, we can call him all that, and we can say so much without saying anything.
Yeah. If anything, we could call him Weeks Club.
At least I ain't call him the F word.
Anyways, but like it's just so that way he knows that we love and care about him, and that
And he
he's
embraces
always
the fact that he's a fairy. So shit.
yes. And it's just like
He thinks
he's a
nice.
part of the team without ever being a part of the team. And I don't remember the last time LaShawn was on this, but he got a whole life he got to live. So there's that too.
Yeah, he gotta keep that.
We should
apartment up.
probably have
His
him
dorm.
on at some point, since he's, there's a
He
lot
keeps
of
making
talk.
a regular reference.
Get him his own box. Get him,
Just for-
put
just-
him right
just
next to his
temporarily.
star mother. Yeah.
There's a few people in our group, the Zoom call, who keeps telling me like, when am I going to be on? Like literally, Phoenix comments and said, when am I going to be on the podcast? I'm like, girl, yeah.
I would love Phoenix to be TT Phoenix to be on the podcast.
All right, let's close this out. It's an hour and 20 minutes. We're going on too long.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
to
much
everybody
for coming,
for joining us.
CKC.
Yes, CKC. Oh, CKC. If please look into Frolic. I know it may not be your thing, but I think you'll have a good time hanging out with all of us.
I think CKC would have a good time to hang out.
Yeah,
CKC is another real one. He travels. He's.
I don't know if he'll like the party aspects of it all, but he may like just going to P Town and just being around.
And
Do you like to party, CKC?
He definitely likes to. Never mind. Anyways,
Why are you putting people's business out there?
I didn't put
Do you
no
like
business out there.
Do you like to party, CKC? That was the question that I asked. I ain't asked nothing else.
Don't listen to anything Sarah just said to you.
I didn't say nothing.
But I think I will look into it.
I didn't put nobody's business out there. I didn't say nothing.
I
He
see,
means
Casey.
that. He's a
He said, okay, he said party
Good
can be
job.
fun with the right people. You're right, with the right people.
Yeah.
The right element. Because you don't want people to harsh your vibe, or people who get drunk and start drama and start talking shit about people and start bringing up shit, and you're like,
yeah, there are some snowflakes in there, but it's not an entire snowfield. It's mostly
there were a number. I remember looking at some video, and I was like,
Needs to
Ian
be
would have
diverse.
been okay. He would have been
there was a
fine.
few sprinkling of white men there, but
Yeah, they were walking around with complete impunity, walking around with drinks in their hands, pushing people out of the way. I was like, oh, you're walking like you belong here.
Yeah, but it was mostly just a sea of melanin. Beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
Lots of gorgeous.
Maybe we should start shaming them when they come into our spaces, like they shame us when we go into theirs.
I wanted to do that last night while I was at 4 West because I saw a bunch of white people in there. I was like, what are you doing
It
up here?
doesn't work. They don't get it. They don't.
No, that's the reason why more people need to do it. We need to, as a collective, agree. We need to, as a collective, agree. That's how shame works. It only works if the collective agrees. Otherwise, we're just barely guilting them. And
all right,
certain monsters don't have a conscience.
I'm hot. I want to take.
Oh God. Okay.
All right.
Mama's,
thank you,
Mama's
everybody.
hot.
Yeah, menopause.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, CKC.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Thank you to anybody who's going to watch this, rewatch this later and everything.
Yeah, because a whole 30 people watched our last one, which we were cutting up the last one. I have to admit, we were really.
This one we was cutting up in too.
The power of the ancestors was with us in the last one. This one, it was like, calm down. Pride is teetling down. You teetle down too. So we're teetling down. I don't know where I got that word teetling from, but it's a cute little word, teetling.
Thank you to everybody for watching us this time, and hopefully, you'll be here for the next one. We appreciate you guys.
It's gonna be Stars Day next week.
Yes, next one is Stars Day for
choice.
All that they want to do, their moment, their movie of the week, and everything. Thank you for joining us for this very special Pride edition. As you know, Pride is about to come to an end, especially in New York City.
So enjoy it.
And let me know if you like my lighting. We can try other
lighting
colors.
is gorgeous. It's
You look very
gorgeous. You
red
look
bone right now.
gorgeous. And enjoy what people have fought so hard for you to partake of
Live in
and enjoy.
your. Oh,
Be who you are.
All right, I'm gonna
For
ditch.
your mind.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one.
I figure out what that song is.